Hey, Garage Logic fans, Mishki here, slipping in ever so briefly to mention that I have a podcast that comes out every Wednesday and every Friday, twice a week now. The show is pretty much about everything you care about and are interested in and need in your life and want to know more about. I tailored the darn thing specifically to your liking. I tailored it to your loves, to your true passions. That took a long time. I'm spent. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely wasted.
What can 160 years of experience teach you about the future? A lot, especially when it comes to protecting what matters. At Pacific Life, we've helped people and businesses confidently embrace the future with life insurance, retirement income, and employee benefits. With strategies built on strength and trust, and a promise to be here for you today and tomorrow. Ask a financial professional how Pacific Life can help you today. Pacific Life Insurance Company, Omaha, Nebraska, and in New York. Pacific Life and Annuity, Phoenix, Arizona.
I'm rolling.
Josh Arnold, investment consultant, brings you Garage Logic Podcast number 1643, October 21st, 2025. 88 degrees on this day in 1947. They had a really beautiful warm fall in 1947. 16 degrees on this day in 1913. Do yourself a favor and call Josh Arnold at 952-925-5608 for a free 48-minute consultation.
Hail the flashlight king.
Hail you!
And now, from the mayor's office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic with Chris Reavers manning Technology Corner, Kenny Olson from the Krabby Coffee Shop, John Heidt in the newsroom, and of course, the rookie. Here is your flashlight king, fireworks commissioner, and the keeper of common sense, your mayor, Joe Soucheray.
Before we begin, I must wish. I don't have to. I want to.
You're not doing a birthday, are you?
No, we don't do birthdays. Yeah. My friend Stephanie sent me this. I must wish good luck to the Hill Murray girls tennis team today. They're going to the state tournament for the first time since 1981. I can do that because it's my alma mater.
I can hop on board for that, and I never even went there, and I want them to win.
It's really not my alma mater. Murray was the girls' school up the hill, and Hill was the boys' school down the hill.
Right.
So you're older than Hill Murray High School.
Hill was started at the behest of Mary Hill from a
James J. Hill family.
Correct.
Well, go girls tennis team.
Yeah.
I have a question for you guys. When is the tennis season?
Well, I guess in high schools it could be spring and fall.
For girls
it's fall. Boys is spring.
Yes.
Really?
Well, my niece is she's a college tennis player at River Falls, and I was at her game match.
It's so they don't fill up the courts.
Okay.
So they don't fill up the courts.
Dan McGrath is waiting to talk to us.
He wants to talk about tennis.
You want to vote on it?
Dan?
Hello.
Hi, Dan. Guess what we want to talk about?
Tennis.
Baseball?
Fraud.
Yeah, baseball. Let's go.
If you want to talk about baseball, we can talk about how the Pohlads screwed the Minneapolis taxpayers with that stadium deal.
That's my guy. Right into it.
Dan.
Oh, Dan.
That's fair. I'm at your disposal, sir.
I think you should have, and I'm being very serious, why haven't you created a podcast centered on voting?
It's a lot of work, Joe. You must know. It's a full-time job for you guys. I got other things to do. I got to make money.
That hurts.
As the Minnesota voting system, is the Minnesota voting system rife with fraud or not?
Yes, I believe it absolutely is. The system is set up in a way that pretty much invites it.
Why would it be set up that way?
Well, I'm going to be very cynical and just say that one side finds that it benefits them to have loose election laws.
But the evidence of fraud cannot be that your guy lost.
No, absolutely not. No. And the press for proof is completely reasonable. And I want to ask, is John actually there? Or
yes, John is here and he will participate.
He left. I think
he
went
didn't
somewhere.
leave. Let's cut to the chase here.
Hi,
yes,
Dan.
John's here.
Hello. So as to proof, let me ask you if you would consider criminal convictions for voter fraud to be proof.
I would say yes, but I would say that's the whole point of the law, right? So, but the convictions don't prove that there's more going on, I guess is the way I would look at it.
Well, if the convictions wouldn't have happened if not for citizen research and arm twisting of county attorneys, then I would say that does demonstrate that there's a problem going undetected by our officials that we kind of have had to take into our own hands.
Are the convictions numerous?
Well, let's look at where we all got started on this at Minnesota Majority with our election research.
Yep.
It was the 2008 election.
Okay.
Ultimately decided Coleman Franken by 312 votes.
Right.
After that election, the research that Minnesota Majority did on our election rolls, and this was data we obtained from the Secretary of State's office and the Bureau of Criminal Apprehensions. We had a couple databases to compare, and we found felons who were ineligible to vote voted in large numbers in that election.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, decided by 312 votes. We found concrete proof. There's more, but concrete, 100% accurate, 1,000 felons voted in that election when they weren't supposed to. That was detected by a citizen group doing its own independent research, and we had to go to the county attorneys and twist their arms to force them to prosecute. They were very reluctant to do so. Ultimately, that led to hundreds of criminal convictions that wouldn't have otherwise happened. So I would say that's pretty solid proof that both we have election fraud in the system and that our research methods are effective because it was proven and borne out in a court of law. Subsequent to that, we used the same methods to do some additional research beyond felons. Some people say, well, felons voting, that's one thing. That doesn't mean there's other fraud. Well, the same research we did found that in that election, 6,000 people who used election day registration in 2008 ended up afterwards flagged for challenge or their voter records inactivated because they provided names or addresses that didn't check out.
Dan, what got us going this time was the realization last week of just how easy it is to get a driver's license in this state. And it's been suggested that that's all someone needs to go in and vote. Will you straighten us out on that?
Yeah, so the big problem with non-citizen voting, how they've implemented it this past legislative session, is the fact that it's an automatic voter registration and combined that with IDs for all. So non-citizens are invited to get driver's licenses and state ID cards. And this combination of processes, I would say they're actually inviting non-citizens to vote.
Because the act of getting the license and the act of getting the Minnesota ID automatically registers you as a voter?
Right. The voter used to require that you have an opt-in provision on certain government documents, like a driver's license application, where you can proactively decide you want to use that form to register to vote.
John shaking his head. John, interrupt.
Dan, don't you, if you don't provide citizenship proof, when you get that ID, you cannot be registered in the rolls, correct?
Well, there is no requirement to prove citizenship.
There is when you get that ID.
It's not in most state laws, actually. Pardon?
To be registered for getting an ID or a license, if you're a non-citizen, you have to have proof of citizenship before they put you on the polls as registered or the rolls.
No, you're close. It's a little bit backwards, though. The way it works is if you provide them proof that you are a non-citizen, then they're obligated not to forward your application to the Secretary of State for voter registration. It's not that you have the onus as a voter or as a driver's license applicant to prove your citizenship. It's if you choose to prove that you are not a citizen, then they're obligated not to forward that on.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Well,
so there's kind of a reversal in the roles there.
Well, there would be very little motivation for somebody to say, by the way, I'm not a citizen.
Well, they do. There's honest people.
Well, that's true.
People, there's a checkbox on voter registrations that says, like, check here if you're not a citizen. But if you want to vote, despite your citizenship status, it's pretty easy. And as I say, we're inviting them to do so because once you fill out that driver's license or ID application, they proactive. They assume you are intending to register to vote unless you say otherwise. Unless you specifically opt out. And then after that driver's license comes in the mail, they've submitted you to be registered to vote, you'll actually get a postcard in the mail that says, congratulations, you're now registered to vote.
And you show up at the polling place and you produce your license.
Yes. And at that point, there is no further checking needed. So you may even, as a non-citizen, having received that postcard, believe that you are eligible to vote. Now, if you believe you're eligible when you're not and you vote, and they try to prosecute you later, they can't, because the standard is ineligible voter knowingly votes. So you have to prove not only that they did it, but that they intended to break the law when they did so. And this is why county attorneys don't want to touch this stuff, because it's really difficult to prosecute.
Dan, I'm reading right now, it says it's when the automatic voter registration triggers when applying for renewing a driver's license. However, the system requires documented proof of U.S. citizenship before any of your information is forwarded for voter registration. Is that incorrect?
That is incorrect in the way the statute is written, yes.
Okay.
I have a question.
The statute is written in the reverse of that. It is if you provide as part of your documentation to get ID anything that indicates for a fact that you are not a citizen, then they're obligated to hold that registration up from going into the voting system.
Dan, I have a question. Resident cynic here, Chris Reavers. Because of what we watched with A Precarious State, and Rick Capcello was here in studio talking about the fact that we have a city council in Minneapolis that's done such a ruinous job of running the city and what's happened in the aftermath and what's coming up here in less than 20 days, 2 weeks on November 4th. It's clear to me, and prove me that I'm wrong, it's clear to me that one party in this state is taking advantage of all these various loopholes with the voting process. Tell me I'm wrong.
I can't disagree with you. I mean, this gets into areas that it can get kind of subjective and difficult to prove. And like in legislative committees, they want to stick to facts when they're debating how a law is going to be implemented and avoid ascribing motive, right? So if you look at the system and see how loose it is and see who's implemented that looseness, it's pretty easy to reach that conclusion that the loopholes are there on purpose, they know about them, and they know how to exploit them. And I've seen evidence of that, but you can't. It's kind of hard to say that with absolute certainty. You know what I mean?
Two questions, Dan. Is the average voter in Minnesota justified in accommodating some doubt about the fairness of the elections? That's question number one. Are we justified?
It would be unreasonable not to have questions about it.
All right. Number two, what does America do to regain trust in the voting process?
Well, that's a really important point because for me, discovering how bad our election system is set up and administered was kind of a blow to me. I'd always blindly, with blind faith, whistle my way to the polling place and cast my ballot, and never, even when I was vouched for once in an election and I saw how that system works, it didn't occur to me that this was going to be abused. But the more I've delved into it, the more I've lost faith in particularly Minnesota's system, and it's disheartening, and that's dangerous.
It really is.
I get criticized for pushing this because it has the potential to turn people off from participating in the process if they don't believe in it. And that's a problem because the alternative is terrible. We, as Americans, need to have that faith that our vote matters so that we feel we can, in a civic way, make changes when we see problems with our government, right?
Right.
But that doesn't mean that we should turn a blind eye to the problems. So my objective here isn't in turning people off from participating, but forcing positive changes that will improve our confidence in our election system. Now, every couple of years, the Democrats roll out a new bill. They want to make a bunch of changes to the election system, and never, ever, ever do they have any proposals to increase security. It's always, how can we make it easier to vote? And in the process, they loosen up another nut or bolt that was put there as a safeguard to prevent fraud. And this is another example of that. When they passed these two parallel bills, they've attempted this for several sessions in a row, but Republicans always blocked it. This has always been a strategy of them to implement automatic voter registration alongside IDs for illegal aliens. And they might say they don't want illegal aliens to vote, but look at Democrat-controlled cities across the country, and they're all implementing laws that actually make it legal for illegal aliens to participate in their municipal elections.
Right.
So it's their stated objective, despite assurances to the contrary for public consumption.
What does the voter do between now and November 4th? Just gird your loins and go vote and hope for the best?
Well, I mean, for the average person, that's all you can do. If you want to get involved in trying to ensure better integrity in our election system, there's volunteer poll challengers that they can sign up through the political parties to go into the polling places and monitor what's happening and make notes of discrepancies. You can challenge voters if you have personal knowledge that they're not eligible to vote. But with early voting, that makes it difficult when you've got 15 straight days of voting that's not happening in a regular polling place.
Yep.
So you can really only do that on Election Day itself, and by then half the ballots have already been counted, but it's something.
If I was the boss, we would not have early elections.
Yeah, because that's combined with vouching.
Yeah.
For 15 straight days, it creates a really huge problem where you can just go into your courthouse or county office or whatever for early voting, have someone vouch for you, and use literally any name and address, and you get registered and you get a ballot on the spot, and you can do it for 15 straight days that way. Mm-hmm. And as I said, our research found after the 2008 election, decided by 312 votes, 6,000 people that used that process turned up challenged after the fact because their name and address didn't check out.
Dan, it's John again.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the law here, and it says they can't be registered unless they have verification of U.S. citizenship or provide proof of citizenship during a previous agency transaction.
So wait, pause. John, is that to get the ID or to license. Register to vote?
Well, it's automatic registration.
So it's to get the ID or the driver's license?
Yes.
Okay.
Automatic registration. You have to have, if you're not a citizen, you have to provide citizenship, something that shows you're a citizen, in other words. And the opt-out is exactly what Dan said it is. You can anybody can opt out, basically, including me, if I want to. Would I do that? Now, Dan, is that wrong? I don't understand, because the automatic here on the law itself, I'm looking at the statute.
Well, I will go back and research this statute again and follow up with you later. But when you go to get your driver's license as a Minnesota resident and United States citizen, have you had to provide proof of citizenship?
I have not.
No, but I'm registered.
So it isn't part of the process normally.
Right.
So anyone that goes down to get a driver's license, they're not expecting proof of citizenship. So my understanding of this, and I looked at this for years. When the bill was first written, I vetted it carefully. It is the reverse, where if you provide data that proves you are not a citizen, then they're obligated to withhold that from automatic voter registration.
Yeah, you still get the license, but you wouldn't be registered to vote.
Right.
Exactly. But even in that case, if you choose to vote, now that you have a driver's license,
right,
you can go register with that driver's license. So there's only the automatic part that would be stopped if you provided them proof that you're not a citizen. You'd still have the driver's license, and it doesn't say on the driver's license, I'm not a citizen. You can use that to register to vote just as easily, or you can get someone to vouch for you just as easily. And with vouching, like I say, you don't even need an ID. You just get someone to say, yeah, I know that guy, he's my neighbor, he's good, and he gets a ballot.
How do we conclude today's conversation? Where are we?
Well, it's probably the most important thing we can do to remedy Minnesota's broken election system is get rid of vouching.
Yep.
We've got to stop it. Now, back in the 90s, it used to be an unlimited number of people that one voter could vouch for, so you could bring in truckloads of people, and then just one after another be vouched for by a single person. At some point, I think it was after the Wellstone election, they said, this is unreasonable. We got to put a limit on this. and they limited it to 15. So now only one van full of people per vouched person could be vouched for. I've negotiated with the Secretary of State's office on a bill years ago to cut that down even further. He wanted to get no excuse absentee voting passed, and I had some sway, and I said, well, I want vouching cut. So we actually got that cut down to 8 as kind of a horse trading deal, and that bill passed. So now one person can still vouch for 8 other people in the polling place. It's still too many.
Dan, would provisional ballots help here at all? I know we don't have them.
Yes, I'm a big fan of provisional ballots. They're normally required by the Help America Vote Act and the National Voter Rights Act.
Yeah.
Some states get an exemption from that provision if they have an unusual voting system like we do with election day registration and vouching. So they feel like we don't need provisional ballots because the idea there is that it's a second chance to vote if there's something wrong with your registration or you need more time to get ID or something like that.
Right, and would, get rid of some people maybe that shouldn't be voting too, right?
Yes, if you have, so we talked about the challenge process, or I emailed it yesterday, and yes, you do actually have to sign the oath, John. I was being a little bit, simplifying it for the sake of comedy and demonstrative purposes. Yes, you do have to sign the oath. You don't just say it, but it's a little difference whether you got to spend an extra second with a pen to paper. Okay, I lost my place.
It's okay. Dan, plug your book.
My book is the Voter Fraud Manual, and you can get it at Amazon and on my website, danmcgrath.net. But the provisional ballot would replace the challenge. So instead of saying, swear this oath, you would get a ballot that is set aside until you can verify that you are actually who you say you are and or eligible to vote, and I think that would greatly improve the system as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Dan, you do the Lord's work. Nobody knows more about this than you do.
Joe, I have one, the angle I come from. I have one recommendation for Dan where he can make twice the amount of money on a new book.
Yeah.
Voter Fraud for Dummies. Teach people how to commit voter fraud.
Ooh, that's not bad.
And then...
That's kind of the idea about the title of the Voter Fraud Manual. I gave it that title to kind of shake people up a little bit. Like, here's how you can do it and get away with it. And if you do read the book, it will teach you how to get away with voter fraud.
Oh, see, you should have made 2 books, Dan. Should have made 2.
I do that just to demonstrate how easy it is, not because I'm encouraging anyone to do it. I just want people to understand the problem from that angle of how easy it is to get away with. There's very little consequence.
Dan,
people that were convicted in 2000. Yeah.
Dan,
yes, Joe.
Maybe within even the next 2 weeks, we should have you back with only one topic, and that would be how do you game the system with ranked choice voting?
Oh, boy.
Oh, that's a good one.
Well, not today.
Coming up next.
Not today.
Right. When we come back.
Make that on a Friday when I'm...
Let's do that, Dan, and I'll be in touch.
All right, yeah, happy to talk about it.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Dan.
No one knows more about voting than Dan McGrath.
Oh, Rook, you didn't get your question.
I didn't. You guys took all my time.
Good.
Dang it.
Did we solve anything there?
Yeah, I'm depressed.
Sorry.
No, I believe him when he said it was when he realized what was happening. It's disheartening.
You know what his reaction when you asked that question to me was? The exact same thing Joe Thompson said. I can't believe what I'm seeing.
Yeah. I have words about that coming up. But first, I want to tell you that the Center of the American Experiment, it's very apropos, has announced the 2025 Golden Turkey Awards. The nominations are open. That's for you to come up with Minnesota's worst waste of money. The Center of the American Experiment gives out the Golden Turkey Award to the best waste of money. If you have an example of ridiculous spending, and my God, the choices are endless, go to americanexperiment.org/golden turkey. The center will be naming the finalists on November 1st. Voting will take place throughout November, and the winner of the 2025 Golden Turkey Award will be announced right here on Garage Logic. Go to AmericanExperiment.org and nominate your choice today for the 2025 Golden Turkey Award.
Reavers here once again for my guy, Mr. Money Talk, Josh Arnold. Does thinking about retirement make you uncomfortable? Well, sometimes the anxiety from wondering if you've saved enough can be overwhelming. But what if I told you that you could ease those tensions in just 48 minutes? Well, Mr. Money Talk is going to be able to sit down with you and get you on the right track for your financial future. Josh has navigated it all when it comes to uncertain market and economic conditions, and he'll always provide straight talk, never sugar-coated advice on how to reach the finish line with your retirement goals. Don't let your financial worries give you an ulcer or keep you from calling Josh right now. His 48-minute, no-obligation consultation could be just what you need to feel better about your future. Call Josh today at 952-925-5608 and set up your free 48-minute, no-obligation consultation. That's 952-925-5608.
Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC, a security investment advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice.
Chris Reavers is a paid endorser.
It's the end of the world as we know it, and he feels fine. Joe Souchere.
I received a wonderful and very encouraging email from Mike. Kenny, loving my new customroasting.net Garage Logic starter pack. This may lead to me to have more than just a cup or two in the morning. It's certainly not against the law to have an afternoon cup. Thanks for the referral. Also, longtime user of Seafoam, been a listener. Now, I want John and Joe to listen to this. Been a listener since the Yates days. Motherless Children is still one of my favorite intros to a talk show of all time. You guys, are you too familiar with that song?
Is it the Eric Clapton version?
Yeah, from Ocean Boulevard.
Oh, certainly, yes. Yeah.
Joe, you've given me a puzzled look.
If I heard it, I probably would recognize it, but it's not springing to mind.
If this was a free country, we'd be playing it on the air right now, but since we're a podcast, we're not, so I want you to listen. I want all GLers to look up Motherless Children from Eric Clapton. It is a wonderful song. Anyway, GL is now a must-listen for me and many of my buds. Keep up the good work. Mike from Carver County. Thank you very much, Mike. Thanks for joining the ever-growing mass of folks converting to customroasting.net. They have a ton of blends, actually, and the latest one that both John and I are drinking it right now is the Italian roast.
Yes.
Smooth and strong. I have made it my preferred weekend blend. When you go to the website, there's a lot to see. Check out, of course, the GL starter pack. If you're involved in any kind of charity work at all, be sure to click on the fundraising tab. Custom Roasting can really help you out there. And these gift boxes they offer, an easy and fun way to shop for gifts for friends and family. The website, customroasting.net.
Here's what I'd say about voting. And it can be said about many entities in American life. As standards get lower, more problems are inevitable.
As standards get lower, more problems are here.
Well, just go to the failed academy. You've got, what now? We're approaching the third or if not more, kids can't even read at their grade level.
Yep.
Well, because one of the great reasons is standards have lowered and less has been expected of those kids. Black kids have been particularly harmed by that, the lowering of standards. Now just take it to voting. As you lower the standards, your expectations for truth, loyalty, and honesty will begin to fail. For example, to me, it's lowering the standards to provide a month or 2 months worth of early voting. It's lowering the standards to provide mail-in voting. It's lowering the standards to say, oh, you didn't get around to vote, you can vote at Walgreens Friday. It's just the standards are lowering. And what the hell is this? God damn it.
43 right now?
I am getting a phone call.
Yes.
I'm not done. I'm done. I'm rolling.
He's
All
rolling.
right. You're on a roll.
I didn't mean to pray there.
Standard.
The standards are lowering. As the standards lower, more people unaccustomed to living by standards are brought into the net. And as more and more people who have grown up not really adhering to many standards at all, it stands to reason that voting can get screwed up.
So you're talking about life in general.
Life in general. As standards decline, the expectation for proficiency must also decline. And I think we're seeing that.
May I?
Yes.
They're going to come back and debate you with the statement, we're not lowering the standards, we're helping. This is help.
And I say the help is misguided and disguised. I say you're lowering the standards disguised as signaling your own virtue. You are lowering standards in the name of pretending that you're making this more accommodating for people.
Less than.
You're making people less than. You don't expect them to show up and vote. So therefore, we're going to take your uninterested self and we're going to make it possible for you to vote.
Can you guys provide me with some wild speculation? Because we did this off the air. Do you suppose that they're having top secret meetings in parking lots in the back seat of a work van with no windows, discussing how these lower standards disguised as help is going to get them elected?
No, I do not believe that.
Chris?
I'll take the bullet. Yes. I do believe that's happening.
I think it's unnecessary. The lowering of standards is so commonplace in all walks of life that it's taking care of itself. The damage is taking care of itself. But you don't have to meet in a parking ramp with deep throat and do this. It just happens.
But when you see, you asked, why is Walz running for a third term? He has no track record to stand upon. He doesn't have any achievements in his tenure as governor of the state of Minnesota. Therefore, he has no other choice.
So, Chris, are you saying that if he does get reelected,
what's Walz got to do with this?
We're talking about voting.
Well,
the standard.
Wait a second, Joe.
No, you're mixing two problems. Yes.
Let me put him on the spot.
Go ahead.
So, Chris, you're saying that if Walz, in fact, does get elected, it'll be due to these lower standards and not legitimate voter turnout?
100%. We've been talking about this for years on this show. The fact that so many people keep just checking a box with the D next to it is because they truly don't have any idea what's going on. The standard has been lowered, as Joe was saying.
That, though, in and of itself, does not necessarily constitute fraud.
Okay.
If I'm uninformed and I go to the poll because the last thing I saw was a Walz yard sign and I vote for Walz, no fraud has taken place.
Right.
Chris,
but if there's one party on either side of the aisle that's benefiting from voter fraud, who do you attach that to? Which side of the political aisle?
I would attach lowering of standards right now. I mean, boy, it's hard to pick who's lowering standards faster. It's a tough situation in this country right now for lowering standards. But don't get me off track. Lowering standards has nothing to do with Walz running again. I'd like to answer that question. He's running again because he's been outed as a worthless national candidate. He has nothing else to do. Yeah. That's why he's running again.
I also, to enter, if I may, this conversation, Chris, I disagree with you because I know people who know much more about what's going on in the world than us five who will vote for Walz. I'm not saying, I agree with them. I'm just saying we sound horribly arrogant if we're saying we know everything about every issue.
No, but if you know people are voting for Walz, I don't trust them to be very sound people.
Chris.
Well, I could, my response is there.
Well, no, John,
since you were just talking nationally.
What possibly can they offer in his defense?
I agree. I wouldn't vote for Walz. It has nothing to do with me or you or
no. You know who you know, John? A bunch of morons.
Yeah, yeah, John.
Hold on, fellas.
Let's talk nationally for a minute.
Yeah, fellas. Chris,
I tried to sneak that in, John.
It seems to me, Chris, that you're looking for an excuse for Republicans not winning when the answer is pretty evident. It's the voting base in Minneapolis and St. Paul controls the election.
Sure.
And
I don't disagree with any of that.
Don't offer
a good candidate.
Yeah, you can't. And I think you're looking for an excuse.
No, I'm not looking for an.
And they hustle and work at it.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. We've all said that we have to produce better candidates. You can't run Dr. Crackpot against walls again and expect to win. That's not going to happen. What you have to do is produce a better candidate. But what I'm saying is, look at just the city council races here. We've elected in Minneapolis alone. These are people that are unqualified for office, yet they know how to work the system.
Right. I don't know where you're going with this.
Well, Joe, you're
covering
right.
ground we've been covering for 5 years.
Joe, what you said is right. They've spent their entire lives not working in the private sector.
This is what they do.
Yeah, this is what they do.
And they show up on that July Saturday afternoon when you'd rather be at a town ball game. And that's how it works.
And you're asking a question. You're asking a question as to, do I think that this is an orchestrated outfit? Yes, I do.
Well, I'll
but
give
they don't
you,
have to hide.
I'll give you that insofar as they're the ones doing the work, but there's not any secret recipe they share in a parking ramp to purposely come up with their results. They don't have to.
You mean like orchestrated protests and all this? This is all a game,
that's
you guys.
a little different, but
it's all the same, you guys.
Yeah.
This isn't, in all honesty.
You got to be quiet now.
This isn't that complicated, in my opinion.
I think you're actually agreeing with Joe, Chris.
I would like to compliment Joe on the Trading Places reference.
Uh-oh.
You know, meeting in a parking ramp in a dark lit area.
That I don't need this.
That came from
I don't
me.
need this. Getting to the fragmented conversation is not helping us. So everybody, take a breath.
Let's get back to voting.
And I was going to say something about trust.
Oh.
And I want to play off a quote that a friend of mine sent me because it enlightens us about our Somali brothers and sisters. And the friend of mine watched a documentary on the ruination of Sweden. Sweden is losing its Swedenness because of just so much mass immigration. And let me read you the quote. You cannot bring in masses from low trust societies to your high trust society and expect your society to survive. The low trust people will take everything they can because they come from places of scarcity, and that mindset persists. Not all Somalis are making the news, but all Somalis who make the news are thieves. And no one has had the gumption yet to do a documentary on the corruption that Somalis have brought about in this state. No newspaper has done it. No television station has done it. But it's quite clear that our neighbors who have arrived here from low trust countries are not assimilating to the idea that they're now in a high trust country. Somalis in Somalia wake up every morning and their only objective is to live and to get through the day and scrounge for their next dollar or pay meal. They come to this country, and in too many of them, that mindset has persisted. So rather than accept the fact that they're in a country with guardrails, they're in a country where there is a great degree of trust, although that's eroding, a great degree of trust in the way the public functions. They're persisting in getting what they can for themselves. And if that means stealing it, it means stealing it. And we do not have a political operation in place in the state of Minnesota to confront that. Rather than confront that, you see this answer has come up a few times. Rather than confront that, what we've done is pass ourselves off as, well, maybe we've just been a little too kind and a little too naive. No, well, yes, you have, but the time for being naive is long past, to the point where it's too late. Joe Thompson said he doesn't think there's a state agency that isn't fraudulent. And he's the federal attorney. And that's because, yes, to a certain degree, because of this absolute falsehood called Minnesota Nice and this naivete, we sailed along for years and years and years as being comfortable with being flyover land, and we have our beautiful lakes, and we have our parks, and we're just a bunch of happy rubes. And we have our Somali friends and neighbors. Yes, we do. But they have a different mindset about life than that pleasant, charming, flyover attitude that we used to have. They're here to take, and they will take what they can get, and if they're not stopped, it will just continue and continue and continue. Not all Somalis, mind you, are involved. But all Somalis involved are thieves. I don't know. That has nothing to do with voting, but I like that quote so much. We have so many people coming here from countries where those poor people never experienced trust in anything. In anything. They come here. We have experienced a life of trust. Well, we have rules, and we have building codes, and we have police to enforce the laws, and we stop at red lights, and we trust the banks, and on and on and on. And on. None of that, all of that is foreign to them. Every bit of that is foreign to people who woke up in chaos and poverty and strife. Now they get out, they're maintaining chaos and strife, but they're sure as hell managing to eliminate the poverty part.
Hey, if you don't like America, then you can get it.
Which would include voting?
Why is something so important as the voting so difficult to make interesting as a topic?
Now you're having our off-air conversation.
Right, I am.
Are we going to be honest, Joe?
Yeah. Yes, we are being. I find it boring.
Let's full disclosure off the air.
I don't find Dan McGrath boring. God bless him for the work he's done.
The topic.
My God, nobody looks at it the way he does.
I referred off the air before the show to Joe having Dan on, and Joe corrected me saying we are having Dan on. I want you to get out to EcoFund Motorsports in Forest Lake / Columbus. It's on highway.
What can I get out there?
Well, you can get some water equipment.
Now's a great time.
Well, here's the deal. If Tim's got any Kawasaki water stuff left, you're getting a deal.
You are getting a deal.
Okay, you're getting a deal.
Everything
it's 43 degrees and damn near snowing. You're getting a deal, and the deal you get's going to include a free Triton trailer. Those things are $1,000. They're wonderful trailers. It's EcoFund Motorsports. It's on Highway 97, immediately west of the interstate. And I'm sure the winter equipment is being laid in. But if there's Kawasaki merchandise left, the jet skis and the fishing operations and the whole deal, Get it now. You're going to get a lot of money off, and you're going to get a free trailer. And as long as you're there, remember, you're at the electric bike capital of the world. Motorcycles, scooters, snowmobiles will be coming in, side-by-sides, youth recreational equipment. You'll never have more fun in a store than you will at EcoFun. Also, EcoFun on the Service Road of Life near County Road 42, and a wonderful, wonderful website, EcoFunMotorsports.com. Well, I'm waiting.
The Earth is not your mother. The Joe Souchere Show.
Scruggs.
We're nuts.
Yes, we are.
And we are nuts, mn.com. Here is the deal, ladies and gentlemen. Right now is the time to think about your corporate holiday gifting this year. So listen, don't be the person that buys a boring gift for your employees and clients. No, buy something fun. I'm talking about We Are Nuts MN. Locally roasted, family owned, and dangerously good. Their corporate gift tins are fresh, festive, and also unforgettable. Whether you're thanking clients, rewarding employees, or just spreading holiday cheer, they've got you covered. Here's how easy it is. Just visit wearenutsmn.com and download the corporate gifting catalog right there on their homepage. You can pick your tins. Cashews, mixed nuts, chocolate almonds, hokey pokey popcorn, even the famous 4. You send them your gift list. They're going to pack, personalize, and ship each tin, even with custom enclosure cards featuring your logo and also your message. So here's the deal. You're not going to get them by Thanksgiving. That was October 7th. That's not happening. However, you still have a couple of weeks to get them ordered by Christmas. That's right. Just visit wearenutsmn.com or call them directly at 612-781-6596 and let them know that you heard about them on the Garage Logic podcast. Joe?
Well, it's John Heidt.
Hi.
Thanks.
What do you think of the game last night, fellas, you baseball freaks? I didn't like the energy level.
What?
I just felt like
when Springer hit that home run?
Then it perked up, but what was that, 7th inning?
Something like that,
yeah.
I thought it was a good game.
What about the guy that jumped up and got hit in the back?
Yeah, Naylor.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't watch the game.
I'm glad he was called out.
Yeah, you can't do that.
They called, it was a double play. They called it at first.
Didn't you, Chris, when you were watching, as soon as you brought in Bizzardo, didn't you go, well, that's it. They're going to lose.
I said, what are you doing?
Yep, same here.
It's game 7.
Yep.
This isn't June.
Gabe texted me, let him finish.
Plus, why didn't they walk him instead of let him hit a home run?
Was there a base open? I don't think there was.
There was one base open. It would have loaded the bases, but then you're only one hitter away from Vlad.
Right. From Vlad.
So,
right. Well, that's true.
Plus, Springer is playing injured.
Yeah. Well, whatever. Here's John Heidt.
I'm outraged by how much money he's making.
Thank you, Kenny. In news, by the way, this news is brought to you by North American Banking Company. Also, referring to your ad, Chris, I held off for 3 weeks because I'd been eating so many. But yesterday, I bought 2 maple bourbon toffee.
How good are those?
Oh, God, they're just wonderful.
Well, I'm a cashew guy, and I've never had better ones.
I might get myself a couple of those holiday gift tins of cashews. Yeah. Thank you
yourself.
To me.
I think they're like a parody.
No, they're
not. A pair of D's nuts on your forehead.
Okay.
That's not funny. That's just, I know funny.
Let's do news.
That's not funny.
You're too bogged down with the seriousness. You gotta release.
What was the voting question you wanted to ask Dan?
Yeah. What was it?
At what point do we know there's voter fraud? There has to be a tipping point where there's only 40,000 people in Pequot
in the news.
Lakes.
Cutting into John's time.
Sorry, John. I withheld my question.
In the news, Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison is officially seeking another term as the state's chief legal officer.
Oh, good.
Ellison's campaign confirming this morning he will run for a third term as Attorney General. The Democrat has served in the role since 2019. He beat Doug Wardlow by about 100,000 votes in 2018, but then narrowly topped our guy, Jim Schultz, by under 21,000 votes, probably because we had him on the show.
All you need to know about Ellison is he went to bat to continue the paying of fraud money because Omar Fateh, which is all you need to know about him, went to Ellison and begged him to do so.
Don't we have a Republican candidate that could beat him, or at least be closer than 20,000 votes?
Schultz damn near did beat him.
20,000 is really close, or it gets less than 1%. So that was a very close
If you
race.
knew anything about voting.
I don't know anything about voting.
Yeah,
That's why I listened to the show.
Because he didn't get to ask his question.
Needs more voting questions. Republicans have targeted Ellison, saying he's allowed violent crime to spike across the state. That's likely to continue leading up to the 2026 election, especially considering Ellison's narrow margin of victory in 2022. Ron Schutz, a partner at Robbins Kaplan in Minneapolis, announced earlier this month he's going to seek the GOP endorsement to challenge Ellison. In addition to crime, he's also already focused on the numerous fraud investigations in Minnesota, saying under Keith Ellison's watch, violent crime has surged, billions in taxpayer money has been lost, and once vibrant cities are becoming ghost towns. Educators in Minneapolis could walk off the job if a contract deal isn't reached. Contract talks are expected to continue today, and if they can't reach a deal, members will start voting whether or not to strike on Thursday, October 23rd. The union must provide 10 days' notice before a strike begins. The Minneapolis Federation of Educators is negotiating a new contract with MPS, and part of what they're asking for is smaller classroom sizes and higher wages. The union is asking for classroom caps that are enforceable. For instance, right now, kindergarten classes are supposed to be capped at 22. The union is asking for 20. MFE is also asking for pay increases to stay competitive with other districts. When negotiations began last spring, it was proposing a 7% increase for teachers the first year, 6% the second year, as well as a 12% increase for education support professionals in the first year, 10% in the second year. State of Minnesota has reached its third tribal state marijuana deal, opening further partnership opportunities for cannabis dispensaries. Governor Tim Walz formally signing the Cannabis Compact with the Prairie Island Indian community on Monday. As with the earlier deals agreed to with the Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe and the White Earth Band of the Minnesota Chippewa tribe, the compact allows the tribal community to open and run up to 8 off-reservation marijuana dispensaries. The deal comes as many other recreational cannabis businesses across the state are struggling to find flower to stock their shelves. Located near Treasure Island in Welch, just north of Red Wing, the Prairie Island Indian community already runs its own dispensary, Island Payzee. However, now they'll be able to expand operations to other parts of the state. Under terms of the compact, each tribal nation can open 1 retail location per city and 3 per county.
So our Native American brothers and sisters, they have product to sell. Is that correct?
That's evidently, yes.
Yeah. But Joe Smith, who opens a shop on Main Street, apparently he doesn't have any product to sell.
They started selling right away.
Who did?
So they
who's
had
they?
product. The Native Americans did. On reservations. Wasn't it the Red Lake reservation, John, that started first, if I remember right?
I think so, yeah. I think you're right.
The fraud people should look into how this whole rollout
This
happened.
also was screwed up.
Yeah. It's just amazing to me that everybody had to go through what they had to go through to get a license to sell and run a business, which was rife with, I don't know if I should call it fraud, but it was shady dealing. And then they roll out the red carpet for the Native Americans.
Okay, what was the deal? Why was it so difficult? Is it because you can grow your own in your backyard?
Because the virtue seekers saw this as a means to reward people who they think wouldn't otherwise have a job.
Right, and the criminal, if you had a criminal past that was based on drugs, you went to the front of the line. So here's what happened, Matthew. People would get a license. They'd go through the process. They'd get a license, and then they'd turn around and sell that to somebody else.
Oh.
And there were companies from outstate, from all over the United States, that were applying to get licenses to sell. So the whole thing was very poorly planned.
And to the point, too, where there were already businesses producing other products that went down the cannabis route. Yeah. And then after they had done production, were told, well, you can't do that. And they had to destroy all that product they invested in.
And maybe the most biggest thing is they allowed people to grow right away. So now there is so much weed out there that there's no way a business can compete with Jim selling to Jeff. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's to the point where people are just giving away weed because they've got so much of it. And how are you going to compete against that if you're a business?
In other words, you don't need a store.
No, not anymore. No,
weed.
because it's just so poorly thought out.
Stillwater Lift Bridge summer lift schedule ended this past Sunday. The lift bridge will remain in the down position until spring unless a lift is requested. Boaters have to request a lift at least 24 hours in advance. Why don't we take a quick break here? We'll be back with more national and international news after this.
Put it on here.
Here's a man who spends hours in hardware stores, sifting through the nuts and bolts of life. Joe Souchere.
Crystal clear, refreshing water is what you're going to get from Hofferman Water and Connecticut. I had to do something very rare over the weekend. You want to know what that is?
Read the paper.
Pay your bills at North American.
Wow! That was very insulting.
Stay sober.
However accurate. Ooh. All of that very truthful. No, you jackasses. I had to add salt for the first time in months to my Hofferman Connecticut water treatment system. And here's the thing. That's what it's going to do. You get that brand new system installed, it's going to cut down on your salt usage to the point where you even forget about it, to be honest with you. But here's the deal. Your first step is you have to get on that schedule and have them come out for that free water analysis. And you can do that one of two ways. You can call them directly at 612-895-2440 or book your appointment online at HoffermanWater.com. Either way, you're going to get on that schedule. They're going to come out and give you that free water analysis. They're going to give you this thing that's called a water score. And then based upon that water score, they're going to give you recommendations on how they can upgrade the quality of your water. They have done that with me, and they've done a phenomenal job. I'm a customer for life of Hofferman Water and Connecticut, and I know they'll do the same for you. So once again, 612-895-2440 or visit HoffermanWater.com. Hofferman Water has been proudly serving the state of Minnesota for over 50 years. Please do me a favor and mention that you heard about them on the Garage Logic podcast. Johnny?
Thanks, Chris. Police arrested a man at Atlanta's airport yesterday after getting a tip from his family that he was planning to shoot up the place. They found an assault rifle and ammunition in his truck outside the city's police chief said. Billy Joe Cagle of Cartersville, Georgia, had described his plan to shoot up the world's busiest airport on a social media live stream, according to Chief Darren Shearbaum. Cagle's 49 years old. He arrived at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International in a Chevy pickup truck that was parked right outside the doors of the terminal. When police went to the vehicle, they found an AR-15 with 27 rounds of ammunition, according to the chief. Cartersville Police Captain Greg Sparaccio, whose department received the initial tip from family members, said Cagle had the intention to inflict harm to as many people as he could. Body camera footage shows Atlanta officers who had a photo of Cagle provided by his family on their phones approach him and start asking him questions before they took him into custody. As they take him to the ground to put handcuffs on him, he can be seen struggling and heard yelling. Cagle has been charged with making terroristic threats, criminal attempt to commit aggravated assault, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, and possession of a firearm by a felon. Nick Roberts, who has known Cagle since high school, texted his friend Sunday night after being concerned by Facebook posts he had made. He said Cagle was struggling with mental health issues. Cagle had posted on Facebook earlier Sunday saying he's schizophrenic and he's taking medication. Roberts said Cagle called him at about 9 o'clock Sunday night, assured him he was okay. Roberts said Cagle loved his two daughters and worked hard hauling hay and doing fencing work.
You know, the sad thought that I had is, there's a security checkpoint, obviously, at the airport, Rick. You're well aware of that. But there's a lot of damage that can be done before you get to that. That's the first thing I thought about when I read this story.
Yeah, if he's
and
got
those
that
people
stuff
are just
in
sitting
his
ducks.
Car in the unsecured part, you got people everywhere.
What was the video I saw of him walking around inside the airport? He didn't have a weapon with him.
No, but he was walking around where Chris just said, the TSA part, the police think he was staking it out, trying to see how many people are there. Okay. And then his truck was parked right outside the doors there. So the rifle obviously was.
Well, I'm glad they got him.
Yeah, thank goodness everybody did the right thing and alerted authorities, and it turned out good.
Hey, speaking of voting shenanigans.
Oh, boy.
See, I wanted to get back into that. Yeah. North Carolina Senate hastily passed a Republican Party gerrymander this morning in a 26-20 vote, advancing a proposed congressional map that aims to dismantle one of the state's black Democratic seats at the request of President Trump. The House Redistricting Committee is set to take up the measure this afternoon. North Carolina is the latest GOP-controlled state to follow the president's demands to redraw congressional congressional seats in an effort to gain more Republican seats in the 2026 election. Trump has endorsed the plan, which leaves most districts untouched while moving black voters out of District 1 into District 3, creating a GOP-leaning seat. North Carolina elected an evenly split 7-7 congressional delegation back in 2022. That changed after the new GOP majority North Carolina Supreme Court legalized partisan gerrymandering in 2023. The delegation is now 10-4. Under the proposed GOP map, it could be 11-3 in 2026. U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance has visited a newly opened civilian military cooperation center in Israel that the U.S. says is central to keeping Trump's Gaza peace plan on track. Vice President said the fragile ceasefire is going better than he expected it would. And White House envoy Steve Witkoff says, quote, "We are exceeding where we thought we would be at this time." President Trump and Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese signed a critical minerals deal at the White House yesterday as the U.S. eyes the continent's rich rare earth resources when China is imposing tougher rules on exporting its own critical minerals abroad. The two leaders described the agreement as an $8.5 billion deal between allies. Trump said it was negotiated over several months. This month, Beijing announced it will require foreign companies to get approval from the Chinese government to export magnets containing even trace amounts of rare earth materials that originated from China or were produced with Chinese technology. Trump's administration says this gives China broad power over the global economy.
Does Trump get to just unilaterally tear down the East Wing of the White House?
Oh, that's amazingly, that was my next story.
Well, I'm glad you have it, John.
The White House yesterday started tearing down part of the East Wing, the traditional base of operations of the First Lady, to build President Trump's $250 million ballroom, despite lacking approval for construction from the federal agency that oversees that kind of project. The photos of the demolition work showed construction equipment tearing into the East Wing facade and windows and other building parts in tatters on the ground. Some reporters watched from a park near the Treasury Department, which is next to the East Wing. The White House has moved ahead with the massive construction project despite not yet having a sign-off from the National Capital Planning Commission, which approves construction work and major renovations to government buildings in Washington. It was unclear whether the White House had submitted the ballroom plans for the agency's review and approval. The White House did not respond to a request for comment, and the commission's offices are closed because, of course, of the government shutdown.
Serious question. Will it be finished by the time will he see it? Or will he be done already?
I don't know. All I know is he has no taste whatsoever.
Right, I don't want him to decorate it.
You've already cemented over the Rose Garden, and now we're putting up a
golden ballroom for the king.
Ballroom that'll be full of Elvis statues.
Don't you dummies realize that he's going to be there for about 15 more years?
Oh, don't say that, please.
Till he's 100.
Well, but we're missing a critical point. This is all being funded through private donation.
That makes it fun.
Never
mind. I'm glad we're not
still
down
the White
the
House.
White House.
Well, I think they're objecting to the fact that it's the White House.
I don't care who's paying for it.
Well, right, but what Newsom is pulling in California, that's all taxpayer money. There was a huge piece in Newsweek about this.
What's he doing?
He's doing the exact same thing.
He's making a ballroom too?
But instead, he's using taxpayer money. Trump's using private donations.
Yeah, I don't think we need ballrooms.
You know what Trump is doing?
But
Ballroom blitz.
Exactly.
Wow.
But it's because Trump's doing it. Everyone's up in arms.
No, you're being ridiculous.
I'll say.
I get to be up in arms about the destruction of the East Wing. I don't care who the president is. Right. And I get to be up in arms that you bulldozed a Rose Garden.
Are you ready, Steve?
The rest of the story is the demolition caught some by surprise because the president said in July when the project was announced, it would not interfere with any other parts of the mansion. And White House spokesperson Caroline Leavitt also told reporters nothing would be torn down as part of the ballroom construction. The East Wing houses several offices, including those of the First Lady. It was built in 1902. It had been renovated over the years with a second story added in 1942, according to the White House.
We've been through the. Did we go? No, we went through the West Wing. We go through both?
I don't know. John, continue.
That's when you dropped that China.
That's right.
Let me find something a little lighter here. A little lighter.
Voting.
More voting.
Cannabis.
Oh, here we go. Police in Westchester County in New York are looking for 3 thieves. Bad guys. They allegedly broke into Playland Park and stole 200 stuffed animals late last month.
Aww.
The young men arrived at the amusement park in a small boat in the overnight hours of September 23rd, climbed a fence, and ripped out the fiber optic cables that provide the park's phone and internet service. The 280-acre park, owned by the county government, is located on the Long Island Sound north of Rye Beach. Security cameras captured the trio hauling away about 200 stuffed animals in garbage bags. They also tried to lift a photo booth over a fence and into the water. According to pictures provided by police, authorities say they were unsuccessful in doing that. The department publicly released pictures of the men and saw the pictures. They're quite good. They're very clear. Somebody will identify them. It was taken by the park's surveillance footage after investigators were unable to identify them in the aftermath of the theft. And there may be liquor involved with these young fellows because in the photos, 2 of the men have no shirt on and one is barefoot.
Oh, barefoot. I
You know,
love
the Twin
that.
Cities, I was reading over the weekend, the Twin Cities used to have a place called Queen Anne Kittyland.
I saw that too.
Unfamiliar.
Yeah. It ended in 1967. I believe, if I remember correctly, it was somewhere near the intersection of, say, 35 and 494. And it's long gone. There's office towers there now or whatever. They had a little train you could ride and the whole deal.
Yeah, that's the picture I saw. A little train ride.
Queen
Pretty
Anne
cool.
Kittyland.
Sounds like the name of a fun bar
And
downtown.
then there was a place called Excelsior Amusement Park.
Sure.
So that's how people entertain themselves. They
Was
went to
Apache
Queen Anne
Plaza
Kittyland.
the one that had the train, too?
No, Matt, I don't think Apache Plaza had a train.
Oh, I think
Yeah,
you
it wasn't
might be.
very big. I knew that one when I moved here.
Apache?
Yeah.
Did they have a train?
No, I don't think so. Not that I
No,
ever
people
saw.
didn't go there, but you could take the children and go to Queen Anne Kittyland and have a little picnic. And
Do you guys remember a historical town, fake town on Highway 13 in Burnsville in the 60s and 70s?
boy, is that ringing a bell.
It was close to where Raceway Park was. And I
That'd be
remember
Savage, not Burnsville.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Savage. Yeah, Savage.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
What? A fake town?
Well, it looked like
Yeah,
a
an
movie
old-
set for a Western town.
Yeah, like an old Western town. Yeah.
I don't ride the train, but if I did,
I take the train at Queen Anne Kittyland. Say, extra is ordinary in Sioux Falls because all you have to do is look at the numbers. If you're thinking about moving your business, expanding your business, starting a new business, consider the business-friendly tax environment of Sioux Falls. No personal or corporate state income taxes. 300,000 people, well-educated workforce, ready to work. Cost of living is low. Centrally located. Developed industrial parks. Your cost of doing business is low. Contact the Sioux Falls Development Foundation. They'll steer you to the resources you need, and you can stop searching for that perfect business site and start growing anew in Sioux Falls. #1 best small city for business and careers by Forbes magazine. There's no state, corporate, or personal income tax, no inheritance tax, no limits to what your business can achieve, and entrepreneurs are welcome. SiouxFallsDevelopment.com.
All right, well, you're looking for that.
I got it.
Dang it.
got it.
So I could be part of the show.
You cannot bring in, I don't even know who to attribute this to. It's from a documentary that a buddy of mine watched about what's happening in Sweden. You cannot bring in masses from low trust societies to your high trust society and expect your society to survive. The low trust people will take everything they can because they come from places of scarcity, and that mindset persists. Now, I don't find anything in that quote to disagree with, because I think, and I wouldn't have knowledge of being able to agree or disagree with that, except where we live. Yeah. We see it. I would have had no other way to base veracity to that quote, except I think it's true because of what we witness in Minnesota. And now we have a dilemma. We have managed to elect a political class, principally in the two city councils, if not when the DFL had the trifecta, who might not be as bothered by this low trust attack on our society as for example, I would be. Because they also have a low trust, but it's in their ideology. The Democratic Socialists of America ideologically don't trust America. They want to reinvent it. They don't like it. They don't like the way it was founded. They don't like authority. They don't like police. They don't like capitalism. They want to completely undo it. So the low trust visitors we get from other countries who move here, that's the least of the Democratic Socialists of America's problem. They don't care about them because they share a similar mindset in terms of lack of trust. It's just a lack of trust born from two different situations. The Somalis who come here have a low lack of trust because they've never experienced trust in their life. The Democratic Socialists of America have a low-level trust because that's what they've come up through the failed academy to embrace. Mm-hmm. They don't want anything to do with America. They think it's flawed. They think it's unfair. They think it's too competitive. They think it's too difficult. And they want to undo it. So the dilemma we face may very well be a combination of those two forms of no trust will result in the demise of Minnesota. Mm-hmm. Either that or the behavior of low trust people must be confronted, and low trust people must be made to understand the wisdom and benefits of trusting that which made America a place where they'd want to go in the first place. There's no reason to come to America and turn it into where you just left. You might as well come to America and enjoy the fact that you don't have to look over your shoulder. You can trust what's going on here. Now, as I said before, that's shaky right now, but that's a different topic for a different day. Right now, we've managed to elect people who are accommodating to people robbing the government. I'm not suggesting they're in on it. I'm not suggesting they specifically cheer it on. I'm just suggesting they're not as bothered by it as GLers, for example. They're just not as bothered by it. So where do we go from here? Walz is unable to address this problem because he's not capable of even thinking about it. The legislature is unable to address this problem. They couldn't even pass a law to create an inspector general. The House wouldn't go for it. The Senate was ready to go for it. We have city councils who are not prepared to confront our Somalis and brothers and sisters and say, stop what you're doing. That doesn't work in this country, and you don't need to do it. You'll have to work. You'll have to work hard. You'll have to toil. You'll have to be responsible. You'll have to follow the law. You'll have to pay your taxes. You'll have to follow the ordinances. But that will pay off for you in the long run, rather than leading a life of crime. And I don't want to hear from you right now. Seriously, I don't want to hear from you. So that's the dilemma we have. The dilemma we have is, well, I guess to complete the dark thought, the dilemma we're facing is this state going to survive or isn't it? That's the dilemma we have. This state is on the precipice of not surviving. This state is so rich in fraud that's so widespread and by particularly one ethnic group, and no one has yet to step forward and confront our Somali brothers and sisters about this. It's not happening. Walls can't do it. The legislature won't do it. The city councils won't do it. And so where are we go from here? Are we going to go down the road of letting the trust that became imported here to let that lack of trust take over and just ruin us? Or are we going to rebound and fix it? Can I get an amen, brother? Now you can say amen.
I thought you told us to be quiet. I thought you were talking to me when you said that.
Well, I saw the smile developing on Reaver's face, and all I was going to get was more cynical nonsense, because I think I've stated a very reasonable problem. Now, what do you do about it? Do you have an answer to that? Look at him shaking his head.
He's gun shy now.
Yeah.
That's all you had to do.
Well, it goes back to what we started the show with.
Voting?
Yeah.
That apparently, Joe, comes from David Frum.
Okay, well, I like it, whatever it is.
He was a speechwriter for W.
Oh, yeah.
And he wrote an article in 2017 for The Atlantic about the cultural and social effects of immigration and the challenges that arise when a high-trust society takes in large numbers. It's a slight paraphrase, what you read, but it's very close to what he said.
We in the Twin Cities have taken in a large number of low-trust people. Those low-trust people wasted no time behaving as low-trust people. They didn't have to. They were in a high-trust society. Go ahead. I am curious now. No, don't start that sophomoric nonsense.
Yeah, I've already said what I was going to say. You can't. I'm done. I'm good.
You got to strike one.
You're going to get what you're voting for, Minneapolis and Minnesota. This is what's happened because we have been too trusting and we've been taken advantage of.
Exactly. Now it needs to be confronted. Do we see anybody on the horizon who's willing to confront this?
Those that attempt to are objectified.
You're going to have to get together with Somali leaders. There are many honest Somali leaders.
That's the key right
And you're
there.
going to have to say, look, Abdul, this ain't working out.
But then those Somali leaders get referred to, I can't come up with a better term than Uncle Tom.
Well,
even though, you know what I mean, the Somali version of Uncle Tom.
This Frum article is fascinating because he said if liberal-minded people are unwilling to enforce the immigration laws and manage the flow, you're going to end up with authoritarian populists. And he sees Trump as that.
Wow.
He's an anti-Trumper also, even though Frum's a Republican.
Right.
But he's one of the leaders of the anti-Trumper groups.
If you let Minnesota go, if Minnesota goes, that it only stands to reason that an authoritarian figure would establish himself or herself to put a stop to it. Either that or the whole country goes. Or it's just over.
In regards to a Somalian person, we've had conservative-minded Somalis run against liberal-minded Somalis. And like always, the conservatives get trounced.
Mm-hmm. And the Somalis are not represented well by a Somali congresswoman.
No.
Who herself
horribly.
Is more admiring of Somalia, where there is no trust, than she is of America.
Seemingly, you're right. Yeah. Yep.
So we are poorly represented by her because she not only represents Somalians, she represents all of us in Congress. And she is not focused on the trust that is evident in a functioning America. Does that make sense? I think it does.
What's funny about Ilhan, she represents District 5 there in Minneapolis. And any of St. Paul? No, none of St. Paul. But the national media respects her and talks to her like she represents the whole state. I mean, have you heard of a more popular senator from Minnesota? Maybe Amy, but nobody else.
Well,
or she's a representative. I'm sorry, but you got my gist.
Certainly not Tina Smith.
Well, she plays right into the template of what's become of news gathering.
Yes, exactly.
She's female.
Yes.
She's black. She's a Muslim.
Yeah,
she plays right into the template of that. The news gatherers are not thinking beyond what we're thinking about. They're not thinking about what end game could possibly result from this mixture of two conflicting senses of trust. Because I see no one in this state, with the exception of this show, bringing this up. No one's bringing this up. No one is dealing with it. No one is pointing it out. Everyone is walking on eggshells, afraid to be called a racist. There's nothing racist in what I'm saying. You have a group of people who are raised in absolute anarchy and chaos, who don't trust anything. They move here with a complete chance to trust everything, but can't and won't. Only because they come to us.
Wait a minute. I don't know if we brought this up before, but traditionally people moved to the United States because it was the United States.
Because they wanted to become Americans.
Yeah.
Now they move here because they want the stuff in America.
Thank you. You just completed it. Yes, thank you.
But they're not giving up their culture.
Yep.
They just want the BMWs and the houses and
feed the children.
They just want the stuff.
Yes.
And they're not willing to work for it, pay for it, struggle for it.
You're using a broad brush.
That's right. I am, and I'm terribly comfortable doing it.
Okay, Bob Ross.
I'll keep adding the qualifier. Not all Somalis are involved in this, but all Somalis involved in this are thieves.
There you go.
And they did not come here to become a thief. It's an intrinsic way of living that they must have brought with them because of the way they had to scratch and scramble for a life in Somalia, where nothing functions the way it's supposed to function. At least nothing functions there like this country functions. Now, are we going to retain our functioning, or are we just going to watch it disappear? And I don't have the answer.
Could be too late. Thank you.
October 21st.
Well, you say it could be too late.
It could be. Nobody's going to reverse this. We can't reverse this. We're into.
You can't elect Democratic Socialists and hope to reverse it. You can't continue with this moron Walls and continue to reverse it.
Well, my mind is with Matthew right now on this.
But what would be the last drop in the bucket to turn it around? What would
no such thing?
How low can we go before
October
we're
4th.
going up?
I got you. October 4th, or sorry, November 4th. That is going to be the last drop in the bucket. Yeah. When this city elects Omar Fateh, it's over.
Yeah. Well, and they'll just elect another one that'll be even worse after him.
He won't be left enough.
Well, then I think that the question that Minneapolitans are asking themselves, well, it's certainly going to impact the entire state. But if Minneapolis elects Omar Fateh, They're not thinking through what that means. They're just not looking at what that means. Not voting for him does not mean you wouldn't vote for a black man. Not voting for him doesn't mean you wouldn't vote for a Muslim. Not voting for him means you wouldn't vote for corruption.
Right. Yep.
We're getting pretty serious at the end of the show here.
Look at Dearborn, Michigan.
That's exactly what I was trying to reference earlier. If you don't think that that's going to come here, look at Dearborn, Michigan, ladies and gentlemen. Look at what's happening overseas in the UK.
Apparently, I wish my friend who's probably listening would tell me what is the documentary you watched on Sweden. I'll watch it. I don't even know if my friend got that quote from the documentary. What did it say? What did he say?
Oh.
He said...
I could call him right now.
Oh, it said, I thought this was an almost profound comment from a video I watched on the ruin of Sweden. So, Tom, send me the means that I can have to watch.
Your friend that's going to be unnamed.
I only said Tom. There's a lot of Toms. I need the name of the documentary. I'll be glad to watch it.
Tom Wilson.
Only because they come to us all the way from Spain. I wonder how the traveling linemen are finding Spain.
Let's go.
Is there rain on the plane?
Yeah. See?
Did you see it in Maine?
What?
On this day.
October 21st.
Well, on this day, in 1839, the U.S. War Department, which we're back to, that's what it's called now. The U.S. War Department ordered Edward James, Wisconsin Territorial Marshal, to expel the Selkirk squatters from Fort Snelling Military Reservation. The fort's commander had complained of the settlers selling whiskey to the soldiers.
Ooh.
On this day,
October 21.
In 1850, Swedish settlement in Minnesota began when Carl A. Fernstrom, Oscar Russ, and August Sandahl built a log cabin on Hay Lake in Washington County. Where's Hay Lake? Look it up quick. And don't talk to me, just find it.
Where's Hay Lake?
Hay Lake in Washington County. I should know where Hay Lake is. Does it exist?
Hay Lake, Minnesota map.
Here we go.
City of Scandia.
Oh, okay. It's up there. Sure, you can get there.
St. Cloud.
No, it's not near St.
Stone's
Cloud.
Throw.
It's up near Square Lake, I bet. In fact, was Square Lake once called Hay Lake, I wonder?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes,
He nods yes.
clue.
Yes, just to get rid of you. Yes, was.
On this day,
October 21.
sports, 1967.
Hockey?
Yep.
We debut the North Star?
Yep. Man, you don't miss many sports ones, do you?
Thank you.
The Minnesota North Stars played its first home game. They beat the California Seals 3-1.
And a week later, we debuted North Star Confidential on AM 1500.
No,
What became
that's
of the
20 years
Seals?
later. The Seals became ultimately
The Shark, right?
part of the Cleveland team. I believe the Gunn brothers created a team in Cleveland.
And then what became of them?
Well, I think then the North Stars absorbed much of the Cleveland club.
Oh, you're right. Seals hockey.
Yeah.
That's
Throw
just
it
a
to
little
me
ice
when you're
cream.
done. I have info.
The California Golden Seals, Joe, you're right, became the Cleveland Barons before being merged with the Minnesota North Stars.
God, I know my hockey
You
history.
love your puck.
Yeah. Kenny, do you have something now or should I
I
wait?
called him, and he is sending you the information. Meanwhile, I Googled it, and I found something from 3 weeks ago called How Sweden's Immigration Dream Suddenly Collapsed. It's 20 minutes, and it's on a site called The Arrow on YouTube.
Okay.
I will. I'll link it and send it to you via email.
All right.
I'm sorry, but the California Golden Seals hockey logo, that is a cool logo.
I don't remember what it was. Probably had a seal on it. Yeah. I
There you
think
go.
they played. Now,
guess.
verify this.
What?
I think they played in Oakland.
Yes, you are correct.
Because the only arena in 1967 in San Francisco would have been the Cow Palace, I believe.
Okay. Thank you.
On this day,
October 21.
in 2005, filmmaker Ali Salim debuted his movie Sweetland, which was based on a short story by Minnesota author Will Weaver. Salim shot the film in 24 days near Montevideo and featured many locals as extras.
Huh.
I'm unaware of that film.
By the way, Queen Anne Kitty Land, 494 and Highway 100.
Oh, Highway
You were right.
400.
You were very close.
Oh, yeah. And I got an email regarding those conversations too. The Savage West Stagecoach? The Stagecoach?
Yes.
There's a restaurant
Yes.
with an old-timey crap in it.
Yeah.
I have a question. Does anyone have a clock in front of them?
Right.
Long show, huh, Chris?
Sports disappointment history.
Who did we lose to on October 21?
Well, that was again the North Stars home opener.
The lid lifter.
We beat the Seals. On this day,
October 21.
in 1976, the NCAA placed men's athletic department at the U of M on probation because they had refused to declare some players ineligible.
Huh.
It had to be basketball.
That was Mussy.
On this day,
October 21.
in 2012, the Lynx lost the WNBA Finals.
Yeah.
On this day,
October 21st.
2013, Josh Freeman game.
Oh, my God.
And it says worst single quarterback grade by PFF. What's PFF?
Pro Football Focus.
So he didn't have a good game?
No, he did not. He was throwing her into the stands at Giant Stadium.
Was he a Viking quarterback?
He sure was. And a fun fact about that game, yours truly was running the post-game vent line show in which one of the hosts was fighting with his girlfriend in the AM 1500 studios.
Oh, I bet I know which one it is.
AM 1500 studios.
Was that the one that hitchhiked to work?
Sure is, Ken.
I think I gave him a ride home one
I
time.
used to see him on traffic cameras next to the freeway.
Oh, what a time to be alive.
Did we have vent line on 1500?
Oh, yeah.
Still do. Purple Daily does vent line after
I didn't know
Vikings
they
games.
did.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Well, that would be more popular than the people who have the vent line.
That's right.
On this day.
God, October 21st.
Oh, I can keep going.
I know you can.
In 2016,
Are you lonely?
the Lynx lost again in the WA Finals with with a controversial shot clock violation with 1:12 left in the game.
Lynx got screwed on that one.
Yeah.
They really did.
Sure they did.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
Yes. Do us a favor if you haven't done so already and hit
Very
subscribe
important show, despite the horrific interruptions by people.
Yeah.
on the Garage Logic YouTube channel. That's right. Garage Logic has a YouTube channel, and you can join the 18,000 plus subscribers that have subscribed to the Garage Logic YouTube channel. You can also follow us along on all of our social media channels, which includes Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And also, sign up for the Daily Logician. That's an email that comes right to your inbox each and every single day, and it includes the most recent episode of the podcast. Find out more and sign up today at garagelogic.com. Time once again to check in with our guy, Mr. Money Talk. Josh Arnold is with us once again right here in Garage Logic. And now is the time for you to do the same. So do not delay. Do exactly what I did and pick up that phone and dial 952-925-5608. That number once again is 952-925-5608. When you call that number, you're going to get Josh. And he is there for you for that free, yes, I use the word free, 48-minute financial consultation with absolutely absolutely zero obligation, and he will always give you the straight talk. He will never give you the sugar-coated advice, and he is on the line with us once again right here in Garage Logic. And Josh, boy, oh boy, some old economy names are hitting quite as well, but are they hitting as well as Ohtani did over the weekend?
Ohtani is a force from another dimension.
Yes, he is.
Ohtani is definitely a force from another dimension. I'm glad that I got to see him play this year. The guy is a monster. I mean, if you think Aaron Judge is big, I mean, Ohtani looks like a middle linebacker. I mean, he is definitely a force. And I know, Chris, that you are as big a baseball fan as I am, not to mention you're still playing baseball. This guy is amazing. To not only pitch and strike out 10, he is one of a few players who have hit 3 home runs in a postseason game. Plus, he had a walk. So he had a perfect night at the plate and almost a perfect night on the mound. Unreal. I think the only other player to do what he has done in postseason is some guy who's in the Hall of Fame named Herman Ruth. And I think you might remember who Herman Ruth was. And you might have seen some old news clips of him pitching and hitting. Meantime, the market today rewarded some old economy names who reported earnings today. Local 3M beat and raised and saw a very nice increase in its stock price. It's still a long way from a high, but things are starting to get a little bit better, at least according to this report, at 3M, and particularly on a worldwide basis. Of course, anytime 3M starts doing well, there's always some state agency or federal agency wanting to come after them on something they did decades ago. But meantime, 3M is a leader in the Dow. Another old economy name, General Motors, lowered its tariff impact by $500 million for the year and increased their sales projection somewhat, and saw its stock move in a positive direction. That was big. Raytheon did better than expected. Their stock, and that's another Dow component, moved up. And then, of course, there's General Electric. Well, now General Electric Aerospace, as General Electric is divided into 3 components: GE Healthcare, GE Verona, which focuses in on turbine engines and energy projects, and that has done well, and GE Aerospace, which focuses in on everything from avionics to spacecraft to being one of the 2 jet engine manufacturers worldwide. GE reported better than expected numbers and increased their guidance for the year, and this stock took up. Yeah, it took up. And then, of course, there's Coca-Cola, another, we'll say, beat on the quarter, but maintain their guidance. They did show, as many consumer product companies will show, that on the upper end, sales did increase, but on the, we'll say, lower end or lower income consumers have been strapped and have cut back spending on Coke products. Coke is not just selling soda, though soda sales and case volumes have increased, we'll say, on a worldwide basis, but are flat here in North America. Coke also sells water products, which have gone up. Sparkling waters have gone up. Teas and coffees, again, products have gone up. They also sell milk. Those sales, unfortunately, have come down. Even though I drink an awful lot of Coke's chocolate milk sales have gone down. But overall, Coke saw, a nice increase, and Coke is a stock that I have compared to putting money into a long-term bond. Benefit of having money in Coke over having money in a bond is that Coke has had a history of increasing their dividend. Coke is still a very, very, very stable business, which to me is today, a long time ago when I first invested in Coca-Cola, I called it a global mutual fund, selling over 200 different products in over 200 different countries. having money in a bond, your principal from the time you buy the bond until the time the bond comes due is going to go up and down based on changes in interest rate. With the bond, they will pay you interest twice a year. And unlike a stock where you don't know what end return is going to be in a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, or 30 years, with the bond, if you do hold it to maturity, you will get back principal. That said, you do know I am not holder nor recommender of bonds. Sooner have my money invested in stock for the long run.
Excellent advice, as always, Mr. Money Talk. You heard him, GLers. Now is the time for you to pick up the phone and make the call for that free 48-minute financial consultation with absolutely zero obligation. And you do that just like I did by dialing 952-925-5608, where you always get straight talk and never, ever sugar-coated advice. Josh, once again, thank you so much for the time and the chat. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow.
Look forward to it. Thanks, Chris.
Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant LLC, a security investment advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice.
Chris Reavers is a paid endorser.